Hey Mia, can you create me a new Google task to collect the payment from Matt, please? Okay, I've created a new Google task. We head over to Google Task. You can see that we have the new task right here. Awesome. Can you also fetch me all of my existing Google tasks right now? Okay, and we have all of my tasks, which is make 3 videos, collect the payment from Sam. While you're at it, can you also fetch me my most recent email? And boom, she got me my most recent email from LinkedIn, which is about my post impressions. Okay, can you also tell me all the meetings I have for today? And boom, she says the 2 meetings I have for today. Let's check if it's true. So we have the first one with John at 2:45 p.m. and the second one with Sam at 4 p.m. So as you can see, she has access to all of these apps. She can retrieve data from these and act as my personal assistant, fetching information whenever I need it. At first, I built Mia for myself to help me with all these tedious tasks. So I can just message her in one place and she can do whatever she wants with all of these tools for convenience, but I wanted to make it public. So today I'm going to show you exactly how to build her step by step. You can also add as many more tools as you want. I did these first 4 because these are the ones that I most commonly use, and it's a good way to demonstrate what she can actually do. And also in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to set up all the API connections in case you don't know how to do that already. So with that said, let's dive into this tutorial. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is add a Telegram trigger so that each time we message a bot, it's going to start the workflow. So we're going to add the first step and then just search up Telegram. Then underneath the triggers section, press on message. And so this is going to listen for incoming messages to a certain Telegram bot. And we do need to set up a new credential for this. Now, first things first, head into Telegram and search up bot father and send him a message, and then press slash and then type slash new bot to create a new bot. And then you can call the bot whatever you want to. And now you have to add a username for the bot. It needs to end in bot though. So yeah, as long as it ends in bot, it is valid. So we're going to send the message and boom. Now, when you create the bot, you're going to get a token. So go ahead and copy it and then head back, create a new credential, and then paste it in the access token field and press save. Just going to test it and boom. The connection tested successfully. That is exactly how you connect a Telegram bot to n8n. Next, we're going to add a set variable node. So press add right here, data transformation, then edit fields and add a field, name it text, then paste in this variable right here as the value. And what this is going to do is it's going to grab the variable from the Telegram trigger, which is the text variable of the message. If it doesn't exist, it's just going to make it empty using these 2 speech marks. So this is going to prevent them. So this is going to prevent it from being any errors if there isn't text, because it could be a voice message also. Now we're going to toggle the include other input fields also, and then set this to all. And yeah, that's done. So we can now add an if node so that if this variable right here is empty, it's a voice message, and if it isn't, it is a text message. So let's go to flow and then if right here. So in the if node, we're going to first of all execute the step so we can get all the variables we need to use. We're just going to drag the text variable from the last node, and then we're going to go into here, string, and then is empty. Now what this is going to do is going to check if the text is empty, and it's going to set it to true, and we're going to take a different route. So the true route is going to be, if it's empty, then it's going to be a voice message. So we're going to add another node, search up Telegram, and then press get a file. Now we need a file ID, but I didn't use a voice note, I just used a text, so there is no file ID. So we do need to run the workflow again to get that. You just press execute workflow and disconnect this for now. Just execute the workflow and then go into Telegram and say something. 1, 2. There we go. And now we connect it back up, head back, and now we should have a file ID down here underneath the voice section. So I'm just going to drag it into there. Download is true, so we download it, and that should be it. Now we need to give this file to ChatGPT or OpenAI to transcribe it. So we're going to add another node. Just search up transcribe, go into OpenAI, then press transcribe a recording. But for this, we are going to need to connect your OpenAI account to it. So if you press create new credential, you can see there's an API key field. Now to get this API key, it's dead simple. Literally just head over to platform.openai.com, log into your OpenAI account. Once you're in your account, just press the settings icon in the top right, and head over to the API key section, and just create a new secret key right here. Name it whatever you want. So I'm just going to, do something random. Select the project. I'm just going to select default project and then press create new secret key. And you should see this one time key. You need to save this to your notes because you won't be able to see it ever again. And make sure you save it somewhere safe in case somebody tries to use your account without you knowing. So go ahead, copy that and paste it into the API key field and then press save. And boom, your OpenAI account is connected. You can now use ChatGPT. You can now transcribe things. You can now generate images with DALL-E. So yeah. Now when the Telegram node is going to download the file, it's going to return a field called data, which the OpenAI can then transcribe. Okay, so now that we've completed the voice note route, we can now give the transcription to Mia. So you can just add another node, go to AI, then press AI agent. Okay, so we can just connect the if node to her, because if it's a piece of text, it's just gonna go directly to her, no transcription involved. And then we can change the source of prompt to define below. And now if you see in the variable section, you can see this text variable right here. Just go ahead and drag that in there. Now to add the prompt, you can press add option, then system message, and the prompt really depends up to you. But this is the prompt I like to use to make sure everything is structured. So it just says you are a helpful personal assistant called Mia. Today's date is the variable. Now you need to have this so that she can actually retrieve things like meetings. And let's say you say something more general, like retrieve all the meetings I have for tomorrow. She's not going to know what day it is today. So that's why you need to, and it's essential that you provide this variable right here, which just formats today's date in a simple way. Now the guidelines, again, optional. Now the guidelines completely optional, but it's just some rules that I like. Now the guidelines are completely optional as well, but it's just some rules that makes things a bit cleaner for me. So when summarizing emails, include the sender, message date, subject, and a brief summary of the email. Now these guidelines right here also completely Now these guidelines right here are completely optional, but you can just copy them if you want to. I'm going to put it in my school community. But yeah, that really. Now these guidelines right here is just something that I like to keep everything structured. You don't need. Now these guidelines right. Now this guidelines section right here is completely optional, but it's something that I like to use to make sure that things are structured. I'm going to put this prompt in my school community in case you want to use it yourself. But yeah, the prompt is very, very simple. Okay, so now that we have Mia set up, we can add a chat model. Now this really depends up to you, but I like to use OpenAI's GPT-4o Mini, and I recommend you use it too. So just search up OpenAI chat model. Just make sure you've selected your OpenAI account. You don't need to do it because we actually had to connect it earlier for the transcription. And yeah, it already uses GPT-4.1 Mini for default. Now we can add the memory so she can actually remember your conversation history on Telegram. So just add the memory and then select simple memory. Now for the session ID, just change this to define below. And then for the key right here, you need to scroll all the way down until you get to the Telegram trigger, and then just drag the from ID right here, and yeah, that should be it. Okay, so now we actually have Mia set up without any tools. This is the most basic form of the agent, but we now need a way for her to respond back on Telegram. So you can add a node and then search up Telegram, and then search up send a message, send a text message right here, and then we have some fields to input. So I'm just going to disconnect this node temporarily and then press execute workflow and just send a text message real quick. And boom, she has done the output. So yeah, it works. And now we can connect back up. And now actually input the settings. So for the chat ID, you need to head to the Telegram trigger. Then at the top here, you just need to drag in the from ID, just drag that in there. And now for the text, well, it's going to be the output of the AI agent. So there we go. Okay, so let's just activate the workflow in the top right here. And let's see if she can A, respond to text messages, and B, also transcribe a voice notes. So let's send a text. Okay, boom. Hello, let me know if there's anything you need assistance with. And I'm going to send a voice note now. Hey, it's Ali, how are you? And boom, she responded. So yeah, everything is working. We can now start adding all the tools that we want to use. I'm going to show you how to add Google Tasks, email, and even your Google Calendar in this tutorial. However, like I mentioned earlier, you can then go in and add all of your own tools that you want Mia to have access to and help you with. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started with Google Tasks first. So we're going to add another tool right here. You just search up Google Tasks. Should come up here. Now for this, you are going to have to connect your Google Tasks account. So when you press create new credential, you're going to see these two things, your client ID and your client secret. Whenever it comes to Google, you're going to need these two things at all times. And to get these two credentials, you do need to head over to cloud.google.com. Then make sure you're signed in to your Google account and then press console. Then press the navigation menu in the top left right here. Press APIs and services and then press credentials. Once you're here, press create credential and then press OAuth client ID. The application type needs to be web application. You can name it whatever you want, but the important thing is this authorized redirect URIs right here. You need to add a new URI, head back to your n8n, then copy this OAuth redirect URL and paste it into here. Then just press create down here. And boom, you should get your client ID and your client secret. All you have to do is just copy these into the correct fields. Boom. And then you just sign in with the Google account that you're using for your Google Tasks. It's pretty simple. Once you've done that, you should see your Google Tasks account is connected right here. But one more thing that you do need to do is make sure that the API is actually enabled on Google Cloud. You need to do this each time you use a Google tool. So we're using Google Tasks right now. You just search up Google Tasks API and just press enable. Now this should allow you to use Google Tasks. Now one more thing you need to do is head over to the audience tab and make sure that the publishing status is set to published. If it's testing, press publish app and then press confirm, or you can add a test user, which is the way I recommend. Just press add users and then type your email into this field, then press save, and that is literally it. Okay, so now that you have your Google Tasks account connected, we can now fill in the rest of the fields. Now first of all, we want her to be able to create tasks for us, so the operation is going to be create, and then for the task list, just select the one you want to use. So my one's called my tasks. Now for the title, all you have to do is press this button right here and it's going to automatically define it based on the model, which is ChatGPT in this case. So yeah, that should be good to go. Let's go ahead and duplicate it and connect it back up to Mia. Now this one is going to be operation get many, and the task list is going to be the same. The limit is going to be 20. But if you have a bunch of tasks, you can just press return all. That works too. But yeah, that is it for the second node. Now we want her to be able to also fetch our emails. So you can go ahead and add another tool, search up Gmail right here. And yes, you are going to need to connect your Gmail account. So just press create new credential and you can see that it is literally the exact same as the Google Tasks. Literally just head back to your Google Cloud and copy and paste your client ID and the client secret. Once you've done that, search up the Gmail API like we did with Google Tasks. Make sure it's enabled. Mine is enabled already. And then the operation is going to be get many. You can set the limit to whatever you want, but I wouldn't recommend using the return all option because let's say you had 5k unread emails, well then it would probably break the workflow. So 50 is a good amount. I'd recommend even 20. Now for the filters, I'd recommend just retrieving the unread emails. So you can just press read status, unread emails only. Now you can also make it so that it retrieves emails from certain inboxes. So you can add a filter and press label names or IDs. Then you can, select that you want it from primary, inbox, important, but I'd recommend inbox. And also unread, That is it for Gmail. We can now move on to Google Calendar. So again, add another tool. Just search up Google Calendar, should be this one right here. Okay, so you are going to need to connect your Google Calendar account to this as well. So press create new credential. Now for this, you're going to need the client ID and the client secret. You already know the drill. Head back to Google Cloud, grab those credentials, search up the Google Calendar API right here, and just make sure that is enabled. If not, press enable. Boom. Now we can move on to doing the fields, and then set the operation to get many. Select the calendar that you want to use. I'm just going to use this test calendar I created for this video. You can leave the limit as 50, and the after field is going to be this variable right here. You can then copy and paste this variable right here and just change this to before. Now you can add an option, press fields, and then paste this in. So this is what it's going to basically get. A summary along with the date that the meeting is going to start. Okay, so once you've done that, that is literally it. That is how to build Mia, your own AI personal assistant, which is going to help you with these tedious business tasks all in one place on a Telegram chat. You can send voice notes to her, text messages, whatever you find more convenient. And yeah, as I showed, she's going to transcribe the recording each time pretty accurately as well and send a message back through Telegram. You can add as many tools as you want. You've already seen what she can do. So yeah, really let your imagination go wild on this one. See what you're spending the most time on. You can also make her create drafts when emailing people. So you can just say something like, send an email to Dan reminding him that his payment is due in 5 days, something like that. Or you can also make it so that she creates proposals automatically. It really depends what your needs are in your business or just your personal life. Anyways, thanks guys for watching. Subscribe and like if you thought this video was useful to you. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below and I'm going to try to answer them to the best of my abilities. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.